Samuel Leeds here, welcome to this week's Winners on a Wednesday. I wanted to bring someone onto the show that's having some property success who is based outside of England. So we have Gwyn, all the way from Russia. Welcome onto the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you've travelled from Russia to be here now.
Yeah, basically.
We're currently at the deal finding extravaganza.
Correct.
And every time we've met for any training or anything, you've always fly in, which is admirable. So why don't you just tell me a little bit about your background?
So in 2003, I left the UK. I decided to go on a journey to Russia, and I knew Russian a little bit before studying at university and at school. And I thought I could make my career a lot quicker and accelerate it as quick as I could by going to a different country and being unique in a different market. So
interesting. So what was your business?
So I graduated at university. I was working in the city, working in conferences and sort of delegates and organisations of conferences and things like that. And I got a phone call from the Chamber of Commerce saying, would you like to come to Russia to work for us? And I said, no way, I'm not going to Russia, not a hell's chance that I'd go there. And literally within a month, packed my bags, got out of my comfort zone, said I'm going.
Wow. And a month turned into a year.
Yep.
And then you ended up falling in love.
Yep.
So tell us what happened next on a family basis.
So yeah, I planned to be there for 6 months, then a year, 2 years, 4 years, children, married. So basically the whole
It ended up you just became Russian basically.
Pretty much. I mean, I haven't got the passport yet, but my children obviously were born in Russia. And my wife's Russian. So
yeah. Fantastic. So now you're living in Russia. You're working on your career. Everything's going fantastic.
Yep.
What happened then?
Well, with corporate life, you tend to go from job to job, doing a good job usually, and then not really getting the sort of success and pay and bonuses that you expect. And I thought to myself, a long term, the next 20 years, that can't happen. I need to take control of my life, control of my economy. Yeah. And thought to myself, well, property is something I've always been interested in. I needed some education, so I changed jobs, moved into construction, worked for one of the biggest construction companies or developers in Europe, got 2 years education there in commercial, so I was head of procurement for a commercial developer. And on the side I was learning on YouTube about different techniques and strategies.
YouTube is a fantastic resource, right?
It's incredible.
And at this point, just for the record, despite your English accent, because you were born in London,
yeah,
and grew up in London, you're about as Russian as anyone's going to be. You're living outside of England, you're living in Russia, your family are in Russia, your job's in Russia. So for anyone watching this, you are basically living in the continent as someone who's not in England anymore. You're not residing there. So you're on YouTube and you're learning about property, right? And then what happened?
So then I saw a video of yourself along with Leslie Tao.
Yeah.
And I saw Leslie and I thought to myself, this girl has literally got the same story as me. Yeah. She's been abroad, wants to come back to the UK. She doesn't have really a network of people, but she's got family there, wants to be closer to her family. Yeah. And I was looking at rent-to-rent deals, but on HMOs, and she opened up the SA sort of area for me. Yeah. I watched a video, literally got on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, emailed her and said, look, can I have a chat? I'd love to work with you.
Which, by the way, just for the record, if you don't want that to happen with you, because now you've set yourself up, because it's interesting because you were watching like Winners on a Wednesday, although it wasn't called that yet. Yeah. We're inspired by one of our winners. Yeah. Because Leslie's an Academy member, came down, started from scratch.
True.
You were inspired by her. Yeah. You've now joined the Academy. Leslie's now one of your mentors. Yep. I am one of your mentors. You have a whole family, a whole team of mentors. True. You're now on Winners on a Wednesday. So this could now keep recycling. Someone could now reach out to you. True. End up at a crash course. And who knows, in 6 months you could be their mentor.
That would be ideal, it'd be perfect.
All from YouTube.
True, and I think that you really don't understand the power of information. Yeah. And a lot of people don't want to invest in their education, and they want to try and find as much free content as they can. Yeah. Which is fine. But I think that when I was looking at your videos, I saw the genuine nature of the people involved. Yeah. The fact that people were investing their time and energy and money in you, and you were giving back as much as you could to them. Sure. Yeah. And I thought that was really important, to go forward. So Leslie, I thought, just came across really well in the videos, just as much as you.
Leslie, a big shout out for Leslie, by the way. I'm sure she'll watch this video. Is just a phenomenal human being.
True.
And she's making like crazy money now. So massive shout. And if it wasn't for Leslie, you and I wouldn't be sat here now.
Exactly.
Because it was her story that inspired you. What were you thinking booking on the crash course from Russia though? That is insane.
Well, look, I'd got to a stage in my career where I thought, okay, I'm at an age where I need to really make a decision. Do I carry on in the corporate life, going from good salary to good salary, but not being really asset rich or cash rich? So I thought to myself, I need to get out of that rut and create something, a bit of a legacy for my children. Educational system back in the UK is a lot better than in Russia. And trying to build that platform back to the UK somehow. Yeah. Not having necessarily the capability or the kind of the skill sets which were relevant to the UK. So going from a Russian environment to a UK environment, not every employer would take me. So I thought, well, if I get myself, create my own economy, create my own company, create my own wealth, I'd be able to do that.
Love that. We'll be talking about that today, creating our own economies, which is fantastic. Yeah. There's a lot of uncertainty going on with Brexit and all kinds of stuff, but as a property entrepreneur, we create our own economy, right?
True.
So you came to the crash course. When did you come to the crash course? September, and it's now November, so that was literally like 6 weeks ago. Yeah. So you came to the crash course. Was it worth the 2 days coming down from Russia?
Look, I'm not going to start blowing smoke up somebody's pipe. I'll be honest with you. I've seen a lot of seminars. I've been to a lot of conferences. I've organised conferences, and I've performed alongside a lot of people. But when I was at that 2-day meeting or 2-day conference with you, it was literally something which changed my mentality and mindset. Yeah. I'd never seen somebody so young as you with so much energy and so much passion. And if I'd taken, 20% of that passion from you to be able to transfer it into my career, I thought that I definitely want to be around those sort of people. Yeah. So I thought to buy a ticket from Russia to the UK, spend 2 days of my time to come and be with those type of people, I'd definitely be learning. I'd definitely get an experience, and I definitely think it would propel me to start acting.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I mean, I'm pretty good at what I do as a trainer, but also, as you mentioned, the networking and everyone that's there, it's a whole new world. And
True.
So you came to the crash course 6 weeks ago. You've then flown back now for the deal finding extravaganza. Yep. You're going to be doing more trips.
Yeah,
but when you come down, you really try and make it count. Tell us what you've achieved since watching that video on YouTube, just yourself, because you've worked really hard from Russia remotely. Yeah. And it's not like you're based in Russia, but now you live in England. You've had to be a UK property entrepreneur whilst living in Russia. So have you managed to actually get any deals?
I've got 3 deals so far.
And they've completely gone through?
Yeah,
they're earning you money now?
Yeah,
How much money are you making profit from those 3 deals?
It's 1,500 minimum at the moment, but it's only the first month. So the occupancy rate is not at the rate which I expect.
So £1,500 is kind of like worst case from the 3 deals. How much money did you invest into those 3 properties?
Well, obviously, because I'm here on a very, very short-term basis, I don't really have the time to hang around for people for delivering furniture, etc. So I actually went out and bought the furniture myself, where potentially I could have waited a week and leased the furniture. So my actual outgoings were probably around about £10,000 to £15,000 for the 3 properties.
So for the 3 properties, you're talking £10,000 to £15,000. Yep. So around about what, £3,000 to £5,000 each?
Yes.
But that was you being fast-paced and not trying to cut corners, not leasing furniture, buying furniture, which is not a lot of money. No. And you're making a minimum conservatively of £1,500 a month profit, which is actually coming in, which is really incredible. Yeah. And you've got a lot more deals in the bag and in the pipeline.
I have.
Tell me about that.
Well, one of the deals I had was with 2 flats in one new build block. And the lady there, she has a service accommodation units already in that area. And because they did not really had a good relationship with her, she said, look, if you'd like to take another 4 or 5 units tomorrow, I will send them a letter, kick them out of the building, and they're yours. Yeah. And I know they work because they have all the business from the hospital, etc., etc. So that's one relationship I've already harnessed over the 2 weeks I've been here. Yeah. And with another building as well, I just very, very on the off chance, was walking around the town looking for construction sites, seeing which ones were being just about to be completed. And there's 10 units which are opposite the hospital, which I've just made a bid on, and we'll hopefully find a co-investor to go in with me for those units.
Fantastic. So you've got lots going on. I mean, what would you say the biggest tip or the biggest technique that you've learned that you're using as a result of the stuff, the training and the mentoring that you've done with Leslie and the stuff that you've done on, the crash course and everything you've done all together? What's the best tip that you've learned?
Well, there'll probably be 2 tips actually. The first tip would be to just act on your instinct and don't hold back. That would be the first thing.
Sure.
But actually, once you go, if you're talking about SA specifically, get onto the platforms as early as you can and start getting the bookings in before you've even put money down.
Yeah.
So if you've taken photos of the property on your viewing, put it online straight away, even if the deal doesn't go through. You can start to take bookings and get cash into the account before the actual deal goes through.
But then what happens if the deal falls through?
Well, what I'm saying is that you set the date of when the bookings can go through. So if, for example, you were looking to start the deal from the 20th of the month, you would then put the calendar at the 20th that you can take bookings in advance.
Yeah.
So it basically gives you a bit of confidence and starts you off on the right foot.
Yeah.
To sort of
rather
go
than thinking fingers crossed, I hope it works before you've even put any money down.
Exactly.
That's a really good tip actually, and I think that really applies for all property, whether it's a HMO, whether it's a single let. You can advertise it before you've completed. You can advertise it if there's a refurb going on. Yes. And in fact, one of the things that I do really successfully with my team is if we've got a HMO and it needs a refurb, we show people around while the refurb's being done, and we say, this is what it will look like, and they really feel, they really have a sense of ownership, like, oh, you're doing it up ready for me, they'll pay their deposit, and then as soon as it's ready, boom, you can move all the tenants in, serviced accommodation, you're doing the same kind of thing. Yes. And I love your first tip as well, just about, if you know in your gut, and you've got your instincts that you need to do something, just take action and don't hold back.
Yeah, there's quite a few people I've seen in the course, and I think that they're on the verge of taking that jump, that leap. They just need to be pushed a little bit, and they'll go.
Which is what I do, right?
Exactly, and I think that's the reason why I joined the academy, why I went with Leslie, is that I needed that push.
Yes.
Just that little gentle push over the edge to start getting involved.
Let me ask you a question, Gwyn. How feasible is it? Because everyone's obviously on a different journey, and there's going to be Russians watching this. I mean, we've got people on the academy that are from Poland. We've got people on the academy from Germany, from Holland. Yeah. How feasible really is it if you're in a job and you live in another country to be part of the academy, or to even just be a UK property entrepreneur? How feasible is that?
To be honest, it's not really sustainable. I would advise people that you can't really be half committed to something. You're either committed or you're not committed.
Yeah. But how feasible is it to be committed? Like, is it possible really to have a job and live in Russia and build a portfolio in England? I mean, is that...
Probably not on a sort of a long-term level.
So how have you done it then?
Well, I had to sacrifice. My family have been fantastic and let me sacrifice some time. So I've taken a month to be away from my children, away from my wife. A bit like me with the Financial Freedom Challenge. Yeah. You just blocked off time and come. I think it's also interesting because when you live in England, it's easy to waste time because you can think, oh, I've got every Saturday to do viewings. But when you're here, I have to smash every minute counts. Yeah, so it's like a burning candle for me. So I've got a time limit, and I have to just quickly get in there, smash everything out of the park.
It's like me with my Financial Freedom Challenge. You know, I'm starting tomorrow. Yeah. I'm going to be like bang, 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 because I've got no choice. Yes. So I mean, do you think then, if you're prepared to make sacrifices and you're prepared to come to England every so often for a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever and just go for it like crazy, is that possible then? Yeah,
definitely. I think you have to, well, it depends what situation. If you're a single guy that's got no obligations, no debt, nothing, you know, you can take your savings, come over here and do that. I mean, I'm in a great situation.
But do you not think though that you can always come up with reasons why to do something or why not to do it?
Well, I think that when you limit yourself to time, so we've been doing exercises today and yesterday where you're giving 1 hour and a half, or you're giving 10 minutes.
Yep. Just to really explain on that so people understand. So we do an exercise where you have to book lots of property viewings, right?
Yes.
And I give everyone 1 hour and a half. Yep. And go for it, and I'm running around chasing them to do it, and everyone's booking viewings. And then I say, right, now we're going to do it all over again, but I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Yeah. And they book almost as many in the 10 minutes as the hour and a half, just because of the pressure.
And I think as well is that now I have the 3 units under my belt, I've systemized everything in a way that I don't have to physically be there. Now to take on the extra units will be a lot easier to get under my belt and then build the portfolio.
Because your first deal is always your hardest.
True.
So you've had to make sacrifices. But I mean, I'll tell you something though, Gwyn, if you just said to me, I'm living in Russia, I will be able to come to England from time to time, but it's going to be for a short burst of time. You know, I'm not wanting to invest a lot of my own money because I know you've been a big spender previously and you look after lots of family members and things like that. Yeah. So you said, you know, I've not got much money and I live in Russia. Yeah, how likely is it that I should succeed? To be honest, I would have probably not said, yeah, do it, join the academy. It's only since you came down and we've met and stuff, and I've seen how well you're doing when I've been quite impressed. I mean, I remember when I did a video rant. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the video rant?
I did, yeah.
Remind me, what did I say?
You were sitting in your office and basically shouting at people so that to act on their instincts and just go forward, you know, because they're not doing, you know, they're sitting in their jobs and going on Monday morning.
Yeah, it kind of it irritates me when people say things like, when's the next crash course in Birmingham? And I'm thinking, well, there's one in London, just drive, it's 2 hours. And I had a rant on the video, and after I published that rant on YouTube, we had about 20 people within a day book on, all from outside of England.
Wow.
Outside of the UK. And I kind of felt, I was a bit like, whoa, pressure's on now. I wasn't even speaking to those guys. I was speaking to people that are moaning because it's 2 hours. But now you've got these guys traveling. Wow, you know, this is going to be really interesting. So can you see a real wave of, you know, European property entrepreneurs in the UK? Can you visualize that?
Potentially. I think it depends on the level of English as well, because obviously coming to these courses, things are very, very quick and fast, and if you don't understand English very well, it's going to be difficult to follow the legislation.
Well, lots of people do speak English well. Like, you know, I mean, the people certainly that we've had on the programs from Holland and Russia, they usually speak English pretty well. You speak pretty good English.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, but no, really interesting. So before we wrap up, then, what will be your final words of advice to anyone listening? Maybe someone who's got an excuse. That is, I haven't got the money, I haven't got the time, I live too far away. What advice would you give to someone that's thinking of reasons why they can't do it?
I think that you only have one life.
Yeah.
And when you look back at your life, you have to think of the big and bold decisions you've made, whether it be getting married, whether it be, you know, to sort of leave a job, etc. And I think that you can continue being in that rut and continue having that life, but you create your life that you want to have. And for me, the biggest decisions I've made, I've been out of my comfort zone. Yeah. And when you get out of your comfort zone, the magic really does happen. And in every situation I've made, bold decisions, moving to Russia, going out completely out of my comfort zone, I've swam. Yeah. And so I've basically forcing myself into situations where I'm out of my comfort zone all of the time, basically joining, you know, meeting new people, talking to people I wouldn't want to talk to. And when you start forcing yourself to do things which are not comfortable, you start to develop. Yeah. So I'd advise people to say that are actually hesitant of doing something, say to yourself, where do you think you're going to be in a year's time if you carry on doing the same things you're doing? And don't get out of your comfort zone and start to change the direction you want to be in.
I love that. Really powerful. I mean, if you're not growing, you're dying. And the only way to grow is to be out of your comfort zone. So that's fantastic advice. How did you feel when you were booking on the crash course? Were you feeling nervous? Were you excited? What was going on?
To be honest, I'll tell you that the last month since the crash course, I haven't been able to sleep. I've got so much energy because when I was working, I'd come home from work, you'd be with the kids, I'd be kind of lapsadaisical, a little bit, you know, sort of tired. I can't get to sleep until 3 o'clock in the morning. I just want to keep working, and I don't treat it as work now. I wake up in the morning and I think to myself, I've got this to do, that to do, but I don't consider it to be a job. Yeah. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be talking to the people you're talking to work, because you're choosing the path you want to choose. You're not dealing with the people you don't want to deal with.
And you're not working to make someone else rich. You're working on your dreams, your goals, your legacy to leave, which is brilliant. I know you haven't officially hit financial freedom. I mean, in one sense, £1,500 onwards, probably £2,000, I would imagine it will be based on the properties that you've got, is financial freedom for some people. Yes. I know we need to work a bit harder. Yes. You've got a lot of deals in the pipeline. I'm imagining that we're probably going to do a part 2 at some point of this interview once you've gone on to maybe do £10,000 a month in the next sort of 3-6 months. How would you feel about coming back on the show?
Absolutely delighted to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Really look forward to working with you. Gwyn, absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching the video. That is the reason why I'm doing this. Your success is my oxygen. Every single week we've got people becoming financially free. If you'd like to see more success students, you can do that right here. But what I'd really suggest is why don't you come and join us at the Property Investors Crash Course. Come along, my guest, completely free, and I'll personally be there for 2 days to help you get started. You can see what happens right here. What you'll notice is all of these stories, they all start at the Crash Course. So come along, my guest, can't wait to see you there. Peace out.